gamers, one channel, and tons of games. This must be Games and Me. Hey guys, welcome to TWiGAME. This is episode 31. So let's start this off by asking everybody who's going to be here the community question of the week, which is, what is the best game you played in 2009? Personally, mine would be Devil Survivor, because it actually does a lot of fourth wall stuff, like breaking the fourth wall type things that make like the DS experience just a little bit more interesting. Not a lot of games have done that this year, so definitely kudos for that. So I'm going to pose the question now to Mark. So what do you think is the best game you played in 2009 so far?
Well, just based on how many hours I've put into it, I'm going to have to say Street Fighter 4.
How did I know that was going to fucking happen? And Ted, maybe Street Fighter 4?
Yeah, I'm also going to have to say Street Fighter 4. That was going to be my answer, but... Mark.
Hey, you know what? Street Fighter 4 is a good game. It's, you know what? Actually, the first time I played Blaze Blue this week, I had like the very first inkling that I've had a long time to want to play Street Fighter 4. I was like, man, I wish I was playing Street Fighter 4. But that's not a bad thing. So, how about you, Vanessa?
Well, based on the amount of hours I've played, it's Fallout 3, hands down.
Nice. And what did you say in your community question of the week, Chris?
For me, Ghostbusters.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Best game this year, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's jump right into the news. And of course, the news articles here are actually based off of the news articles you submit on forum.gamesandme under the TWiGAME discussion board. It's a very kind of convoluted way to get there, and I apologize in advance. It's gamesandme, discussions, gaming discussion, games and me, TWiGAME. I gotta fix that sometime. So the first article is Sony patents software-based PS2 emulation. So apparently, the reason why Sony hasn't really put, the cell processor in the PS3, of course, is to cut costs, but they're saying now that they can actually mimic the PS2 cell emulation using software. So, since you're a software engineer, Ted, what do you think about this whole thing?
Of course it can be done. With enough time and energy, you can emulate one chip on another chip. It's just a matter of, do you want to put the time, energy, and money into it? And because the PS2 is still kicking, doing pretty well, they figure, yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. And Mark, what do you think about this? Because obviously you don't have a PS3 yet. Would this be a big selling point for you for getting a PS3 if they actually put it in there?
Probably not, especially since my PS2 is like alive and kicking at the moment.
But playing your PS2 games in 1080p, man.
But that would also require that I have a good TV, which I do not have.
Okay. All right. How about you, Chris? I know this is not an issue with you since you actually painstakingly lined up for a PS3, I guess, when you got it.
I didn't get one first day, but I have the 60 gig one. But my cousin recently got one, and his doesn't have the PS2 backward compatibility. So that'd be good for him. Something he could download in the future and, keep playing his PS2 games on.
Yep. Most definitely. How about you, Vanessa? I know your brother doesn't have a PS3 yet.
Yeah, I think that this would be really good for people who haven't really kept up with Sony at all. Like, maybe they've only gone Xbox or Wii. And if you could play PS2 and PS3 on the same thing, that'd be awesome. And I think it would, be totally stupid if we ended up years down the line at the PS10, and you had to have 10 PlayStations sitting in your living room to play all the different generations.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of pathetic, isn't it? Because like the way that Sony positioned the PlayStation 3 is like the only system you'll need to play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 games. And of course, they took out the ability to play PlayStation 2, so they can't use the same marketing gimmick now. So hopefully this will come to fruition, because I do have quite a bit of PS2 games I want to play, but it's not my problem. I got the 20 gig. All right. So this next article is Square Enix has like a mystery countdown. It's actually going to run out within like 5 hours or so, but we all know what this is. This is a Final Fantasy side story game with four Warriors of Light, I guess is the name of the whole game. So what do you think about this, Chris? Because obviously you're a big RPG guy. What do you think?
I guess it sounds cool. I'm not that big an RPG guy. I mean, I haven't really played one in a long time, but I mean, if it
Persona 4.
Yeah, but I haven't played one.
Chrono Trigger.
This is the only one I'm going through right now. But
Make it sound like we're twisting your arm to play these games. Jesus Christ.
No. Chrono Trigger I bought, and you did twist my arm for Persona, but it's still a good game. But still, I guess if they can do another Final Fantasy, which seems to be that's all they can do.
Mm-hmm.
More power to them.
Okay.
So,
how about you, Mark? What do you think about this whole thing?
Stop making Final Fantasy games.
Yeah,
like
14.
10 years.
14. What's up with that shit?
Do you guys remember 10 years ago, back in the SNES days, when they're like coming out with all these Final Fantasy games, but they weren't really Final Fantasy games?
Final
They just had
Fantasy
the-
Mystic Quest.
Mystic Quest, yes.
Yeah. It feels
that
like
was
we're
it. What else was there? Final Fantasy
the
Mystic
Game
Quest.
Boy. On the Game
Game
Boy.
Boy.
Those weren't Final Fantasy games. Those were Seiken Densetsu games. By the way, did you know they're remaking Final Fantasy Legend 2 for the DS?
Yeah, they are.
If you don't get that, you're going to hell. I got that game when I was like, oh god, I was 7. That's my childhood right there. Oh my god.
But bottom line, it feels like it's that time again where Square is just like placing Final Fantasy, the brand name, on just a bunch of different games.
Well, what else can they do? I mean, Ted, what do you think of all this stuff?
Look, you can put Final Fantasy on it as a brand name as long as you don't dilute your brand. If you put out things like, okay, Final Fantasy Legend 2, that game wasn't Final Fantasy, but it was awesome. So it's a good game. If putting the brand Final Fantasy introduces it to more people, who cares?
Yep. How about you, Vanessa?
I don't care at all. I played a few Final Fantasy games. I'm done with them, and I don't care anymore. Sorry.
You have anything to add to this, Ted?
What specifically, other than the fact that, oh my god, they're doing 14. 13's not even out yet. And then here comes 14.
And let's not forget, like, there's 3 versions of fucking Final Fantasy 13 coming out. Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13 Versus, and of course Final Fantasy Agido 13. I mean, come on.
Hey, that's on PSP. Hey, PSP games. Nothing wrong with PSP games. Not to mention, you forgot Final Fantasy 13 Mobile.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be 2 others after that too. Remember, this is the Fabula Nova Crystallis project, which is just code for Japanese like to make weird names for shit.
So Square Enix should then change their company's name to the Final Fantasy Company, then, kind of like the Pokemon Company, Jeez. Although they are making Dragon Quest IX, so I guess we can forgive them for that. But wait.
Oh,
They're not even.
They already announced Dragon Quest X.
Ugh. For the
On the
Wii,
Wii.
yeah. Ugh. Man. But let's be fair here. Dragon Quest 9 and 10 are not being developed by Square Enix. They're being developed by Level 5. So Square Enix could still potentially be renamed as the Final Fantasy Company. So, all right. Moving along. Professor Layton tweets riddles? What the heck? So apparently, not only did Professor Layton set up a Twitter account where he tweets riddles, but also his sidekick as well. I forgot his name. Anyone remember his name? Forgot.
The little boy.
Little boy Luke. He's like,
Luke.
"Hey, I'm Luke."
Yeah,
Luke.
Assistant Luke or something like that. Yeah, so you can follow them and get Twitter.
He's Top
and-
Hat Professor.
Yeah, he is Top Hat Professor.
Here's
And I
the
thi-
latest riddle. You have a barrel of oil, and you need to measure out just 1 gallon. How do you do this if you only have a 3-gallon and a 5-gallon container? And my answer is, I did enough of that shit in the game. I'm not going to do it again. I hate that part where you have like, how do you get 2 gallons if you have a 3-gallon, a 4-gallon, and a 7-gallon container? I don't know. I'll kill you. Oh my
Well-
God.
Well, you know the funny part about this thing is that I don't know if you guys know, but Henry Hatsworth also has a Twitter account. So Henry Hatsworth has been making fun of Professor Layton this entire time. Yeah.
Right?
So he's